Welcome. I'm so glad that you can join me here today. 330 on what am I and what is addiction. This pointer number 11 that we're expanding further on each and every episode with this lesson 288. And my name is Reverend Maria Arvanitidis. How do you do? This is an audio-visual version of my book, TheSovereignLight, named after my ministry. And this is a course in metaphysical spirituality. These pages are excerpts 782 and 83. The miracle is all about connection with that part of the self that has been neglected and deprived from its awareness. Appreciate and release it from the harm of sickness. Free the space from pain and all discomfort to surround instead by expanding it with gratitude. And I'm here with all these horses, these beautiful, beautiful horses that I'm going to take one of them and the rest will follow. We're going to the river to cool off because it's been a hot, hot day here. And so whenever you're ready, take a few deep breaths in and out. And out. And just feel the grounding from the earth that generates this energy, and breathe it in from the soles of your feet all the way to your heart space center, and from the top breathe into your heart space, congregate, and out. Breathe in from the soles of your feet and out. The ethereal, just breathe that in, fresh air into your heart space center, and breathe it out. And in and out.
Get up, bro. Get up. Get up, bro.
And whenever you're ready, let's say these words out loud.
Get up, bro.
The band-aid is ripped away when I can focus on what it is I want instead on the conditions. And take a nice deep breath in and out. The band-aid is ripped away when I can focus on what it is I want instead on the conditions. The band-aid is ripped away when I can focus on what it is I want instead of the conditions. So let me introduce to you, this is real. This is the one that I ride. This is real, but then this one's getting jealous. Hey! And these are the beautiful, beautiful horses that we, this one, hey, this is Paint. Oh, been riding, and he's a really, really good horse. And this one here is Paint. Hello, Paint. So as we get ready, and my horse awaits over there, to go to the riverside because they've been out here in the heat all day. And one of them is waiting for the vet down here because she's kind of had it, you know, she's been, it might be heat stroke, so we're going to find out what exactly it is before we head off. And yeah. And as we continue on to this page 782, I will continue reading. Seek God from within the self to empower with whatever the image was and glorified over another beyond the self, and is that addictive detriment that forever brings the lack to struggle from the disconnect. The disconnect always overshadowed with the need to possess and control. It will reflect in this way to the self and for re-examination of its external circumstances with that it must explore today in a way and every way that it presents itself. Sometimes the helpful tools of forming boundaries can become healthy impositions and to bring relationships from disconnect just that much closer than before. The band-aid is ripped away when I can focus on what it is I want instead on the conditions. Boundaries, this thing boundaries is like really getting to me today, because there's this thing going on right now, a war in Gaza and Israel, and what is really upsetting me is that Palestine doesn't even have, they're not even allowed nails to build houses with. From what I gather, they don't have even any weapons to defend themselves with. And yet Israel is being cheered, and they've taken Palestine, and Palestine's down, and they're the bad people. I don't know, I don't want to take any sides, but I think it all has to do with boundaries. Now, if they didn't have any boundaries and they just lived and respected each other and didn't have the need for boundaries, then maybe all this wouldn't be happening, because we allowed for these boundaries. And in this way, the self is a measure of its universe, and from it all is the self. The only way to rise into the praise it secretly feels it lacks is by lifting out itself, and from the perspectives of its lower ego mind. In response to culture and tribe, the self cannot be saved, but only shaped by it and that of its discipline for these external conditions. Hello, baby. It is an addiction to rely upon the external image, falsely represented through religion, and by giving it authority, it will oppress the spirit upon with ignorance that self is lacking. By not fitting in the awakening to self is that much quicker and or can be that much more painful. And to continue on synthetically dependent by its very own experience. The unfixable perspective was this knowledge. This knowledge. And by its very own experience, the unflexible perspective, and that reflected backward as contrast to distort its image further. The deep sleep was that of unconscious mind and not being aware and or semi-aware with subconscious mind. As teacher, perpetrator, and student victim, this is were designed to help the self connect with its conditions to the outer world from its emotional injury, to seek outward for the motivation from this thing called love. The self became the victim and its perpetrator as the crutch for its addiction. So the purpose for today is never for the intention to rely upon external conditions of the outer world to feel good. And I will leave you with today's affirmation. Thank you so very much. The intermission is, again, take a day. And congratulations for making it through to the 288th lesson. This is a rest period to take the lessons independently as a review from the 46 weeks and 365-day program, this 319 lessons and 48 days of review that break up the lessons, and 6 days for a day, and every other week of 13 days for 2, and there's a few exceptions in the mix. Take this day, okay? Just take it to recalibrate and make notes and review, and I will see you again for day 332 on What Am I and What is Addiction? Lesson 289. Thank you so very much. And until next time, let's continue on with this affirmation. Take a nice deep breath in and out. And the Band-Aid is ripped away when I can focus on what it is I want instead of the conditions. Hello. The Band-Aid is ripped away when I can focus on what it is I want instead on the conditions. The Band-Aid is ripped away when I can focus on what it is I want instead of the conditions.